Hey everybody, what's going on? It is I, Jeffrey Openshaw, here for This Week in Mormons. Happy to join you this week to bring you the greatest in Latter-day Saint news. And before you ask, no, I don't know when we're going to rename this program to be something that follows the prophet. Still have no idea. I don't know. It'll be a Christmas present. I have no idea. Find me the time to fix my domain and all that stuff. Anyway, we hope you'll join us at thisweekinmormons.com. And you can read our blogs there. And of course, get the notes for the show, all the stories we're going to talk about. This week, by the way, quick teasers here. Mesa Temple's being rededicated. What's going on with Ward Christmas parties? Cool new tools for mission presidents. Tabernacle choirs giving money to liberal actors. The rivalry between the Deseret News, Amazon workers acting like missionaries, and of course, So Delicious and Swig, the battle, an epic time for all eternity. I'm happy to be joined this week by multiple previous guests of the show, but first time officially christened co-host, Haley Smith is here, everybody. Hi, Haley.
Hi. Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
You're very nice to say that.
I can't wait to put co-host on my resume tonight, right after we're done.
I hope it says co-host and thrice guest for projects I was doing. Thrice for the Beehive twice for the Beehive franchise, and once for show-offs.
Yes, I'll add that as well.
Where is the show-offs? I know I ask you every time.
I don't know. If somebody knows, let me know.
I mean, we know Utah doesn't care about masks, so I don't see what the issue is with filming in front of an audience. So
I don't know. I know. Did you hear that, BYU TV? Utah doesn't care. We can perform again.
Listen to me, BYU. Actually, I shouldn't insult BYU TV because they've been very kind to me in arranging for guests over the years, yourself included. People behind relative race, like they've been very, very accommodating.
They know. I love them. It's all good.
They're very nice folks. So, what's going on in the world of Haley Smith? What's new?
Oh, wow. Well, just
your hair is darker than I've ever seen it.
It is. Yeah. So I just finished up a movie, actually filming in Utah. It's a little independent comedy that some friends of mine were producing and putting together. And yeah, it involves aliens. I'll say that. But Will Forte is in it.
So did you guys build, like, was this because of when he was on Show Offs? Is it like following up on the relationship? I'm curious, like, did that actually?
Yeah, well, that definitely helped. Definitely helped. So yeah, Will was excited to come do it. And then they just brought us some of us other, people on board.
You're being very cryptic about, I guess, can you not even say what this film is?
No, it's really fun. It's like a kind of a sort of a coming of age comedy based around these high school kids. Where I play the mom of this high school girl who we've just moved from the big city of New York to a small town in Idaho. And,
and then you find the true meaning of Christmas by meeting a lumberjack.
Yes. Actually, our characters move out to Idaho to flip houses, a la Chip and Joanna. So it's pretty exciting. So yeah, that was my first time playing a house flipper. So.
Oh, that is exciting for you. I guess better Chip and Joanna than what was that terrible one they did with those ones from Orange County with Tarek?
Yes, they got
flip
to force.
Or flop. Is that the one?
I think so. And
now they were from like my hood, like where they were flipping houses was like my immediate city.
Oh, really?
Like, I'd see the neighborhoods they were in. I'd be like, yep.
Oh, yeah.
It was very real.
And now they both got remarried and have their own shows, I think.
I think so, which is great. That means that their divorce has blessed us with twice as much programming.
Twice as much programming to watch when I go get my nails done.
I don't even have cable. Yeah,
I don't either.
When I'm at somewhere like that, like literally the most HGTV I've watched live has been my mechanic shop. And they always have, for some reason, it's an auto mechanic, but they've decided this is what they want to stream and have playing.
I wish they would put it on at my dentist. Instead, it's like some documentary about the ocean. And I watch every time. It seems to be the part where these whales are killing things. And it's not relaxing when you're being drilled on.
What the whales are killed? Like,
they're killer whales.
Is this the pseudo horror movie Orca that came out in the wake of Jaws when they tried to make us afraid of orcas?
It's a documentary, and every time I go, I'm like, they only have one DVD, and they just play this over and over again. And I'm not relaxed. I just close my eyes so I don't see things in this ocean getting murdered by
You should
other
just
things in the ocean.
bring a DVD with you and ask them if they'll just like,
I'll be like, "Can you play Up,
"Please
please?"
play this. Please cooperate. Thank you." Yeah, right. Then when you get to you'll be under like NOS, and then the part comes with the talking dogs, and you'll think you're hallucinating.
Yeah.
Good times. Well, we're glad to have you here. It's the Christmas season. Lots of good things happening. Actually, this is one thing I've been thinking about.
Mhm.
It's Christmas party season, both
Yeah.
for work for many of us and for
Yeah.
ward parties. Have you had a ward party? Are you having a ward party?
Yeah,
Is it
we had ours, a couple Saturdays ago, and, I showed up and someone walked up to me and said, "Hey, will you MC?" I was like, "Sure." "Really? Me? Why?"
now
But yeah.
is this a thing because of your profession where you get
Yes.
pigeonholed into situations like that on a church? Like it's like when they know you're a choir director
Yeah.
professionally and they say, "Cool, you can be the ward chorister then. This is the only calling you're ever gonna have."
Right, for sure. I guess it's similar to that. It was like me or the guy sitting next to me, and he's like, "I'm out. I have a call in a little while." So I was like, "Okay," but all I had to do was like list off musical numbers. It wasn't too stressful, but um, it was it was fun. It was a good little breakfast. We do breakfasts now.
Is it a rotating thing or do you only do breakfast every year?
No, like for the last so many years, it's just been breakfasts. I think it's just everyone's schedules get crazy and nobody wants to give up a Friday or Saturday night, I think. I don't know, unless they're going to get a really good meal out of it or something.
Well,
But
you could provide that. I mean, so mine's different because my bishop is adamantly against the morning shift. We have one because we have 3 wards in our building, and they usually rotate on
yeah.
the times and it's dependent. In recent years, we've tried to, combine efforts in terms of decoration. That way it's not one ward doing a whole
Yep.
thing, then tearing it down, then another one doing it. But to facilitate that and not get in the way of Sunday, it's like 1 ward's Friday night, 1 ward is Saturday
Yep.
morning, 1 ward is Saturday night. But my bishop right now is the agent bishop, which is a thing I didn't even know about until I was in a
Oh,
bishopric. Do you know the agent bishop? You know, so there's a bishop. If you have multiple units in a building, one of the
yeah.
bishops is the one like responsible for the building and can like call the
Oh,
shots on what happens to the building in terms of
okay.
furniture or artwork
Yeah.
or upkeep, all these sorts of things,
Okay. So it's not like
or
a
scheduling.
secret agent.
No, no, no. For some reason they
Everyone
call it.
knows.
It's
But
the
maybe
agent
it is
bishop.
because I didn't know.
Yeah, I never knew about it either until I was in my current calling.
So it's a little
And
secret.
But it's pretty funny to me because he's just like, "No, we're not doing breakfast. We're never gonna do breakfast. I'm never ever gonna take the breakfast slot if I can avoid it." So we're having ours, this weekend, and my wife got saddled with handling the entertainment portion of the evening, and she was
Ah.
like, "I don't even know if we're gonna be going to this, and they want me to, like, be in
Yeah,
charge."
see, because you have plans. No, yeah,
No,
that's a lot of work.
honestly, I know our listeners are tired of it. I don't know if we have plans as much as we don't know if we wanna be in a cultural hall with our
Oh,
entire unmasked
a
ward
super spreader.
noshing hard. Yeah,
That's
that's
true.
like, I went to a work party last week, but
Yeah,
everyone's required to be vaccinated at work,
yeah,
so I wasn't as stressed out about it, but we
yeah.
can't do that in our ward situation, so I'm kinda like,
Right.
"Okay, I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know yet, we'll see."
Oh, yeah, it'll be a game time decision for sure.
Now, did you guys have Santa, though, at your party? That is my I see
No.
all walks I see in our church
Yeah,
over
no,
this
we
year.
didn't. Yeah, I don't know that anyone is, like, opposed to Santa in my ward, but I've sat in on meetings where I've been in, presidencies that were in charge of the Christmas party, and Santa is always a hot topic, like, do we or don't we? And I don't know, I just I'm always just like, I don't know, do we have someone who has a suit and is willing to do it? I don't see, like, what the big deal is. I think the kids love it, and if someone wants to do it, I think it's great.
Some people, like, get really worked up about Santa, though, and I don't know if it's just I think some view, like, is the word Christmas party a goofy time? Is it
Yeah.
a time to convene and be reverential about the Savior and, the true meaning of Christmas, which is important and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen a mix. I've been in some meetings where people were militantly anti-Santa. Like, they're just like, "No, if you do Santa, we're not gonna bring our family." I'm like, "Okay."
Wow.
And then I've been in other wards where, like, the way they advertise the entire party is saying, "Oh, guess who's almost here?" And it's like he's in the flyers, and there's no mention of Jesus anywhere or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just Santa time. I don't know. It's always been a mix. I
Yeah.
like Santa parties. It's just fun for the kids.
But it's also like I mean, along the same lines. I mean, it's not seasonal right now, but also I've like been in meetings where or awards where they're like, we don't have a Halloween party. It is a fall festival because like we
What?
don't.
Because they think it's like pagan or something.
Yeah, and I'm like, what, are you kidding? Mormons love Halloween. Sorry, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints love Halloween. They love decorating their trunks and scaring people and doing fancy like haunted houses with smoke and all,
Oh
smoke
yeah.
fog machines. So it's just kind of funny when we pretend that we don't love to, you know,
Who would not?
engage in
Yeah.
pagan
Why would you?
rituals.
Yeah, it's like, okay. I mean, I mean, who cares? Yeah, Halloween's a Celtic thing, and it's great. It's awesome. It's wonderful. Everyone should love Halloween. One of my fondest memories is when I was a priest. They wanted to do like a spook. They had held like a whole ward Halloween party
Yes.
back then, and they had us. We had one of those older buildings that got the cultural hall. We have the
Uh-huh.
stage, but ours was like a very legitimate, higher stage. It actually had classrooms at the stage level off to in the wings.
Yes.
You've
Uh-huh.
ever seen ones like that?
Uh-huh.
And then above the classrooms, there was storage, big stagey
Yep.
area where back then you could do like legitimate
A
productions of
full
things,
show. Yeah.
stuff like that. So, um, I remember they asked us to do a spook alley as the priests, which was just awesome. And we utilized both the rooms. And this was the kind of thing where we're like 16 and 17-year-old guys. And so our every goal is just to terrorize everyone as much as humanly possible.
Yes.
So like I went and bought a fog machine because I figured why not? It would
Yeah.
serve me well for many years. We had a fog machine. And then when they went to the last room, it was dark until a strobe light turned on, and one of the guys wore a Freddy mask and had a chainsaw.
See?
We
It's like
we we had a signal though. If it was younger primary kids coming through, we had like a signal to say not do that, and then we just kind of stand there and let
yeah.
them pass by. But it was
Uh, that is so funny. I think when I was a Laurel, back when we were Laurels and we had Laurel projects, planning the ward Halloween party was my Laurel project.
see
And I do remember we specifically assigned the priests to do the spook alley on the stage.
when did the word Halloween party kind of give way to trunk or treat being the norm? I don't know if anyone who does word Halloween parties anymore. It's almost always just a trunk or treat. Maybe some kind of food might
Yeah,
be part of it.
I
But
mean
I never see it as a party
we do
party.
it every year. I think it still is called a fall festival, but yeah, definitely trunk or treat. But we do games like in the rooms a couple years ago because I don't think we had one last year. The fog machine set off the fire alarm, and then we all had to evacuate the building and start the trunk or treat early and wait for the fire department.
I'm surprised the fog machine would set it off though, because I mean
Well,
they're
that's
not
what I know. That's still
great.
what we think. We can't figure out. So this year they're like, no fog machines. You could use laser lights, whatever. But I don't know. I didn't give too much thought to it since I
I'm just
wasn't in
gonna get
charge of
my
that.
fog machine and bring it out for the Christmas party this weekend, just for no reason. It's gonna be great. No
Just
Bill City, but
test it out.
all right. Well, everyone, we hope your Ward Halloween party season is going great. I'm gonna dive into another story real quick. This one actually just broke tonight. So, um, I forgot we even put an article about it over This Week in Mormons. So as you know, the Salt Lake Temple is being renovated. It's been kind of hard to miss that one, I would say, if you're a member of our faith, considering President Nelson spent time walking around at the last conference and gave us a video about it and stuff. So the Temple project started back in December of 2019, and just as a reminder, it is not just like a nice, hey, let's clean up the temple thing. It is, I mean, they are replacing all kinds of stuff. I think this was born out of the need to seismically retrofit the temple, and now they've used it
Mhm.
as an opportunity to just do a whole lot more to it. But a big part of it is that. I mean, if you follow the church's pages, they've done stuff like replaced all the trusses that support the roof in the temple with stronger ones. They famously have dug out all the way down to the original foundation to try to install all this stuff. It's a big undertaking. And then on part of that, they also got rid of the existing annex. They got rid of that chapel. All that stuff's going to be redone, and they're going to redo the whole way you access the temple. And there's going to be two baptistries, and they're changing the interior, and they're doing all kinds of stuff. It was supposed to take about 4 years from the time they announced it, which is, I
Mhm.
think, a reasonable time frame for the level of effort involved. But
Yeah.
then just tonight, the First Presidency kind of quietly released a statement. The church has sort of an ongoing article about just like monthly updates on the temple. And the first presidency pretty much just said, as the temple project has progressed, we've learned a great deal about the condition of the temple and its surroundings, which I'm assuming means not for the best based on what they tell us afterwards. Because they say, yes, this is wonderful work being guided by the first presidency, but it's now anticipated that the temple and its surroundings will be completed in 2025. So,
Wow.
best case, that could mean like January 2025. So it's only 13 months off the mark, or it could be a full like 2 years later. I don't know. But
Yeah. Yeah, what does that mean, the surroundings?
I mean, they've started other projects that weren't initially announced because
Yeah.
things they didn't. So the first thing was they're redoing the plaza in between the church administration building and the church office building. You know, they had that giant fountain and
Yeah.
all that stuff. That's gone. So they're putting in this beautiful around the world flags display. And the
Oh,
idea here is
okay.
the
Nice.
idea behind a lot of this is to improve sight lines to the temple itself, because before that pesky fountain, if you were standing east of the fountain, you couldn't see the temple. You saw water effect. I mean, that's no good.
Oh, right.
So they're changing that. And then that wasn't planned initially. And then they've also recently torn down the North Visitors Center, the one that had the Christus
Oh.
statue in it, which was not part
Oh,
of the original
really?
scheme.
Okay.
So that is also
Oh,
gone. And they said that was also to enhance the sight lines to see the temple itself, because all these other structures were
okay.
blocking the view to it, apparently. So, I
Wow.
mean, I assume they undertook those demolitions, and they're not replaced. I mean, the one they're not replacing the visitor center with another building. They're basically giving it some kind of thoughtful, contemplative garden type space.
Right, right. So maybe just to have more grounds and less external
Yeah, yeah. Which is
buildings.
also why if you go to Temple Square right now for the lights, it's a little bit of it's not as expansive of an experience as it might have been.
You're
There's just
just walking through construction.
there's a little wedge of area in Temple Square you can do that isn't in some of the other buildings. So, anyway, they didn't say much more about it or what they've learned that is, the condition of the temple and its surroundings. They didn't specify, but for whatever reason, now it's going to take a little bit longer to get that Salt Lake Temple back online, years longer.
Wow, well, it's too
It
bad
could
that
be.
there's no other temples in Utah for people to go to.
I
That's
mean,
the bad part.
what do what do they do?
Only 25 or something, I don't know.
There's so many.
But yeah.
We wrote an article once here at TWIM where I think it was a joke like, "Hey, we need three more temples in Utah to get 20 temples." Nice round number, and then we've like blown past that now. So
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
No,
I don't.
it's great.
Yeah.
Good
So
job. Good job, Utah.
sorry, Salt Lake people. You'll just have to go to Bountiful, or by the time it happens, Taylorsville, or Jordan River, or
Yeah,
Coker, or the one in Tooele will probably be done by the who knows.
yeah. That'll be exciting, though. That will be an
It's gonna be a big
exciting
deal, and
day.
they kinda mentioned in the statement they're excited for when it comes back to open its doors to the public. They basically said that, like, and we know that's gonna
Mhm.
happen, but of course it'll be a big deal when they
Oh, yeah.
have the public open house for it. It'll be the biggest open house since the one they're gonna have out here when they finally do, DC next year. We've had ours closed for 4 years, so we're
Oh,
finally
wow. Oh, the DC temple's beautiful.
it's lovely, and my
Yeah.
favorite thing about it, if you do a session,
Mhm.
unlike a lot of temples where there's the aisle in the middle and then you separate by gender,
Yeah.
the aisles are on the sides
Yeah.
like like a movie theater there.
Uh-huh.
And so if you get there at the right time with your beloved,
Yep.
you can literally just sit right next to them. That's just which is just kind of fun. I hope they haven't
That's
gotten rid of that.
great.
I don't see why they would, but it's a fun little feature.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
nice.
have been to that temple once. It was a long time ago, but that would be exciting.
It's a cool building.
Well, speaking
All
of
right.
temples,
Yes,
we have to
yes.
talk about the Mesa Temple and everything that has been, upgraded in that area into the temple and all that. Just got dedicated, right?
Oh yeah, over the weekend. Yeah. Tell me more. Tell me more about this, Taylor.
Well, I was just looking at some pictures. My family lives in Gilbert and Mesa, and they were excited when they got to go to the open house. And so they were telling us how beautiful it is. And my mother in law says, "It's very beautiful. I don't know if it's my taste, but it's beautiful." Just so I don't know what that means. It
What
makes
does
me
that
want to
mean?
go. I'm like, "Can I have more details?" But she's like, "It was an interesting color palette." I don't know. So
Does she mean the temple itself was a
yeah,
color
yeah,
or
inside. I guess. But, I was looking at pictures and I was like reading about the grounds and there's like 300 trees or something, and I was like, "It's like a little Garden of Versailles with all the."
yeah, it's definitely at that level.
Yeah.
Definitely that
It's
level.
the
Yeah.
same. It's
Yeah.
basically the same.
There's a
Like,
giant pond in the shape of a cross
it's the
that covers.
L'Orangerie, just in Mesa. But, yeah, I thought it looked very nice, and, I thought it's very cool that they put the visitor center kind of like, a block or so away, something
Yeah,
to
'cause
kind of.
before it was just, like, right next to it. I mean, the
Yeah.
upside to that was if you had needs, like, the visitor center was right next to the temple, basically, which is maybe
Yeah.
easier, like, if you I don't know, if you had a ceiling and people couldn't go in or whatever, people are watching kids, you got a visitor center right there.
Yeah.
Now it's
Yeah.
just up at the, other end of the street, which is I think it could be okay.
Yeah. They'll probably be fine.
I
But
hope so.
but they had to have room too for they're gonna keep doing the pageants and, like, I mean, Mesa, they just get
Does
everything.
Mesa see, I should know this. Does Mesa actually get to keep doing
Yeah,
their
that's what
pageants?
it said in the
They're one of the
article I
few,
read.
right?
Easter pageant will be going strong, which not everyone gets an Easter pageant, so.
What is behind some pageants being canceled, but other ones remaining? I mean, I know it's because they view the Mason one as a bit more localized, and that's part of it compared to something like Hill Cumorah, which is very regional. People come from all over to be involved in it and come to it. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't. I don't think that. I don't know if the Mesa pageant's ever been viewed as one for which people like travel as a
I
main.
don't know. I don't know. I'm sure it's like an annual tradition for
No,
lots
no offense
of
to the people who
families.
do. I'm
No.
not saying it's a bad thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Maybe it's like how many tickets you No, I'm just kidding. I don't think they sell them, but how many tickets you get reserved? I don't know. I wonder, do you think it's a calling, like, to be the pageant master? Like, you get called in and you're like,
I don't know.
"You're going to be in charge of the pageant." That would be a big job.
I don't know. It was, like last year we interviewed Merrill Jensen, the,
Uh-huh.
composer. I don't think he was involved in Mesa, but he was involved in like Hill Cumorah and the Manti pageant and stuff. And it was
Uh-huh.
pretty interesting hearing about someone who like wrote all the music for those things and
Yeah.
his direct work with Salt Lake to do that and like getting notes from apostles and having to shoot them down.
Mhm.
Anyways, I'm gonna plug that one, folks. That's a hilarious interview if you ever want to listen to it because it's really funny to hear someone tell a story about how there's like general authorities saying you need to have this in there, and he's like, no, we're not doing that. Just like that doesn't work for this project. I'm sorry. I know you want this in there. Um,
That just gives a whole new meaning to selling your soul for your art.
something
Because
like
can you
that.
call it that if you're giving
So
things up for, first presidency?
So here's one thing I like. You noticed, part of it wasn't just the temple and moving the visitors center. The church used this as a chance to invest more in the area and redevelop
Yeah.
a lot of other parcels that the church already owned. And the area around the Mesa Temple, the Mesa Temple was built a long time ago when Mesa was just this little outlier. I mean, Phoenix was barely anything back then either, right?
Yeah.
It's an older temple, and as such, older neighborhoods have kind of remained around it. I'm not going to say run down necessarily, but if you've been there in the past, you've noticed it's like, okay, like no judgment calls one way or the other, but a lot of times our temples go
Yeah.
into more Tony neighborhoods, but not the case with the Mesa Temple. And so the church, I think, wanting to preserve the area around the temple and to
Yeah.
provide benefit to the city, invested in some mixed use developments, with retail and apartments, even actually building some houses nearby, a whole number of different projects. There's some people who have met this with not as much enthusiasm because they think like,
Oh.
why is the church getting into all this kind of stuff? It's this whole logic behind City Creek. Why are we
Yeah.
doing all these? My favorite thing though in the article is it says the City Creek Reserve, the organization
Uh-huh.
that this invested this real estate arm, worked with Scottsdale-based Dale Gordon Design to plant the vibrant transit-oriented neighborhood, which features diverse residential unit sizes, comfortably scaled buildings, and here's my favorite part: Mesa authentic architecture.
Okay.
What is Mesa
I
authentic
don't know.
architecture? I've been to Mesa. Isn't Mesa authentic architecture just tract housing and malls? Like
I
what architecture is unique to Mesa in that sense? That I don't know I've never known this. I'm serious. If I'm ignorant,
So it's not like Arizona architecture or Southwest. It's
Southwestern architecture is something very specific.
specifically Mesa
If they
architecture.
mean they
Well,
tried to style it after the Mesa Temple, then okay, so that's like Temple of Solomon architecture. Then I don't know who's going to want to live in those townhouses, but okay.
yeah.
Very
Right.
curious what Mesa authentic architecture means, especially as opposed to what is inauthentic architecture for Mesa. I mean, what does that mean? Is it East Mesa or West Mesa? Because we know there's very different
Oh
worlds,
my
different income brackets.
gosh.
I don't know what this means, but you know,
Oh man, I just know I've gone to some really good taco places, so I don't know. I need to brush up on my Mesa architecture.
no. Apparently, we all do, right? Because it's a thing. It's studied
Okay.
at all the greatest schools.
And I've
Oh
just been
man.
thinking about my stomach this whole time. Okay.
Oh boy. So, anyways, good times there. Glad to see that happening. Glad for the temple area. Now it's dedicated, and
Yeah.
happy times for all them. I'll use this chance, by the way, to plug. Since we're on temples, we've been templing a bit. We might as well stick it with the temples.
Mhm.
We have our chance to vote for Temple of the Year up at thisweekinmormons.com. Our boy Corey wrote a great post there. A lot of temple renderings released in 2021. Not the most, but 25 new temple designs came out in the calendar year
Wow.
2021. Uh, that's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
whole lot of temple designs, and you can vote on all of them across categories such as best appeal to local heritage, like which one embraces authentic regional architecture, for
Mhm.
example, like Mesa. Best modern neoclassical contemporary design, modest is hottest, most deserved temple, best in the US, best in Latin America, best in the Eastern Hemisphere, best single story, best multi story, and then best temple of the year. All these categories,
Wow.
simple Google voting form. And you
Yeah.
can see the pictures of every single temple on our website if you go
Yeah. I
to
have to say I looked through the pictures and
what do you got?
I'm from Colorado, but, so I'm biased, but I did think the Grand Junction one looked pretty nice. I they have, like, the little triangle roof thing on top. I don't know. That was pretty cool.
I've got to see.
I'd
I'm looking
probably
at them
vote
right
for
now. I've
that.
got to try to find Grand Junction
Yeah, it
again.
kind of, took me by surprise. I was like, "Okay, that's different. I haven't seen
There's a
that."
bunch of temples that look a lot like that
Well,
one.
there's, like a lot have the little, like, cu how do you say it? Cupola?
A stipula,
The
steeple.
round,
I'm not.
um,
I'm not going to help you. I'm just going
but
to enjoy watching you tell the
I
story.
don't want there's
Oh
but
yeah,
this one
there's
has a
Grand Junction. Yeah, yeah.
triangle.
A copula. Yeah, I like that. I can dig it. Well, I think we call those pyramids, Haley. When the
Oh!
triangles are three-dimensional and join at different sides to make a plinky
Ah,
shape. Yeah, I like that.
I'm going to read all about architecture all week and how to pronounce cupola. Cupola? Cupula? Scapula?
Scapula.
I don't know. I know
I
how
like
to spell it.
scapula. It's a cupula, right? Cupula? Cupula?
Sure.
Cupula. I'm looking at the phonetic spelling for it, and it's so let's see. Now you got me doubting myself. You know, it's like
Sorry.
you
No,
know when you
it's
see a
just
word too many times and it starts to look weird.
yes!
Yes.
Yes. No, my daughter who's 21, she's very cute. She's read so many books over her years, but even at age 21, every once in a while she'll come out with a word that she uses it correctly, but she pronounces it incorrectly. And it's just so cute. And we love to
Like
correct her.
every member of the church who says there is a law
Oh,
irrevocably decreed in heaven. Ugh, I hate that. That's one of those words. Just so you know, folks, the word is irrevocably. That's how we pronounce that word.
irrevocably.
But we all say irrevocably. It's just one of those things. It's just one of
Irrevocably. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
yeah. I once tried I was actually looking into writing an article for the site about, like, words Mormons use incorrectly, but I
Mm,
really only thought of, like, 3 or 4. I didn't think it was enough to merit an entire exploration of those things.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, the Grand Junction one's aight. That one's aight. I can dig that.
Yeah. It's
I like
different.
I like the Horizonte Brazil temple. Little,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a mini Cardston or
Oh,
Meridian, Idaho. Looks like a little mini me version of that. Everyone knows I'm biased about the Yorba Linda, California temple because that is that is my land.
that's
But
where
I
you
genuine
hail from.
for all the temples that appear to be following that a kind of similar floor plan. You can kind of tell in the pictures they're all kind of like you can tell Grand Junction and Yorba Linda are kind of the same thing. But Yorba Linda has some cool designs to it, and you know there's some good ones there. So go
Yeah.
vote on them, folks. I can dig the Linden
Yeah.
Temple. Haley, how do you feel about the Provo Temple
Yeah, I was
redo?
just gonna say there's definitely been controversy because I see a lot of I used to live, like, near there, and I've seen in fact, we lived right behind the MTC for a bit, and we'd see people drive in and to drop off things over the fence like Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, because we lived
One time
right by the fence.
when I went
So
to the MTC, my family was still in town, and they actually went and picked up Del Taco, but they dropped
uh-huh.
it off at the like, the at you could do
Yeah.
this legitimately, but they dropped it off in the front or wherever, and
Oh, yeah.
it goes to the mail room, but they didn't get it to me in time,
Oh,
so I didn't pick
no.
it up. So I got it, like, 2 days later. There's just,
No.
like, Del Taco sitting in a bag.
No. See, that's why people had to go to the back
I
fence.
didn't and my building was even right next to the back fence, now that I
Oh
remember.
my gosh.
Wow.
Oh, well, missed opportunity. But yeah, no. So I've seen lots of my friends. Well, a lot of artists also kind of live in that area. It's, I don't know, just LDS artists. And so I think some of them are kind of upset that they're kind of just turning away from that kind of postmodern era look that that temple represented. But then I'm sure lots of people are happy because they didn't like it. So yeah, it's an interesting I
The
don't
word
know.
on the street from many is not that this is, like, about, "Oh, it's ugly, let's fix it, let's do something like that," 'cause it's or let's make it bigger, because it's actually one of the biggest temples in the church. There's not much more you can do to
Really?
increase the
Yeah.
number of people who can use it.
Mhm.
What I've heard, though, is that because the temple sits on a fault line, it was retro it had some seismic work done, like, 5 to 7 years ago,
Oh,
but people in the know, this is all anecdotal, this is secondhand for me too,
okay.
but many have said that it's basically like, if there was a decent earthquake, the temple would just pancake on itself,
Ooh,
and they can only do
yeah.
so much to do it without going to the lengths they're going to Salt Lake, like,
Right.
really digging in there and redoing the whole thing and doing crazy work to ma and they
Yeah.
probably at some point said, "Look, it's a famous building, but it's not as historic as Salt Lake where it merits, like, this level of attention, so it's easier to
Mhm.
tear it down and start over." That's kind
Mm.
of what I'm
Yeah. Okay.
but it is a shame, I think, that they're gonna start over with what is just kind of like another blandly modern temple design that's just
Right.
it
Yeah, they
blends
just
in
kind of
very
all
well.
have the same, general look, which I guess, I mean, it'll be recognizable for
Will
people
it?
in Provo who don't know what an LDS temple
I'm
looks like.
convinced I'm convinced, though, if you took away, like, the backdrop from the Provo temple and some of the other designs, you wouldn't know which one is which. I think you'll only be able to identify Provo in a
Yeah,
pinch because of Rock Canyon behind it, because that's very distinct it's
exactly.
very distinctive, but otherwise
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It will be weird. It will be weird having lived in that area and driven by it just thousands of times. It will be a little strange, but
yeah, there we go.
yeah. Oh well.
Alright, it's your turn.
It's my turn.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, it means if you wanna talk about something.
Well, yeah, I mean, I really want to talk about the Tabernacle Choir and their donation to the Actors Fund, $100,000. Is that what it
Yeah, it's
was?
cool.
I think that is so great. And over the years, they have benefited so much from all of the talented, I mean, just huge stars that have come to perform with them. And I think it's great that they're supporting the arts that way. And I think it's a fund that goes to help, you know, um, not the people who aren't the big stars right now, but people
Yeah.
who need a little bit more of a leg up. And um, I mean, if we as a church and as a culture aren't encouraging artists, then I think that's kind of actually hypocritical against what we stand for, which, we support creativity and the arts and um yeah, all of those good things that
Well, what is the Actors Fund exactly, though? Why is this significant? What does this mean?
um well, I mean it just means that, it's actually don't know like as everything that it goes toward, but from what I read, it helps um actors that, like apply to get aid. I don't know.
Okay, in the time you stammered through that, I'm going to just kidding. But no, they're a 501(c)(3) charitable organization, just like our church, go figure, that
Okay.
supports performers and behind the scenes workers in performing arts and entertainment. I've heard they provide, like, direct assistance to people. As you know, COVID has not been kind on actors. I mean, a lot of these people who depend on these sorts of things for their livelihood, especially in the first year in 2020. I mean, everything's shut down. Like,
Right.
imagine if you're a theater worker, actor or worker.
Yeah.
They're like, sorry, there's nothing to do. We can't do any shows for 10 months. Like, that's it. Like, what else do you do? And so the fund is to help actors who are in need of help and provide
Yes.
services to them.
And that is what that is what I read. It provides aid to struggling entertainment professionals. And
Maybe that's what so when you say it like that, maybe that's why some people are like, really? We're doing this? Like struggling actors? We're just giving them money?
No, but I mean, so many of them were devastated by the pandemic. I mean,
Go be a waiter. Pitch me your screenplay during your shift.
they
Isn't that
couldn't
what
even
it
do that during
I know. I know.
2020. I mean, it
I
was
know.
just I mean, so many jobs that were just gone for such a long time. So desperately needed for sure. And what I didn't realize is that the church's giving machines in um New York, they also accepted donations to the
Yeah.
Actors Fund.
And I didn't know that was part of it either until I read this article.
Yeah.
You think that's I figured it was all just kind of uniform giving machines, buy someone a goat or stuff like that.
I think it is kind of different for different areas, maybe, or I don't know, because
Do you think the one in Nashville is supporting some kind of nonprofit devoted to musicians? I wonder.
I wish it was. I would go there to see if it was. No, somebody needs to answer that question because I would love to know that.
What is cool is here, and the one they presented it to was Brian Stokes Mitchell, he's a very talented actor and singer. He's performed with the Tabernacle Choir, and this goes more into detail about his actual history with them because it's easy to see like someone performs at the Tabernacle Choir, and that's like cool. We got it was a get, we got him, and then maybe it built upon that. But it seems he's been involved with them for going back many years, long
Mhm.
before even his concert with them in the past couple of years, which is great to see. I mean, and he's a. I mean, I'm trying to think what anybody would know him in. And as far as more mainstream entertainment, like we were talking before, he was on Frasier playing Frasier's nemesis neighbor Cam Winston. If you've ever seen
Mhm.
that,
Mhm.
um,
He
he
was
was
in
also on Fresh Prince.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
Okay.
he played the one that was going to be Hillary's fiance, the terrible newscaster. Yeah.
Oh, wow. No, I did not see him. I knew him from there was a Broadway musical called Ragtime
Hmm.
that he started, and I, you know, used to listen to that soundtrack years ago. I mean, his voice is amazing, and he was in that with Audra McDonald, which, yeah, who
Who
has
is married to Will Swenson?
that's
This is like,
right, and
oh my
who, has performed in Utah, and yeah, so yeah, um very talented guy. And I heard that, Kristen Chenoweth also enjoyed her time performing with the choir. So that's fun because
everyone's
everybody
having a good
loves
time.
Kristen.
Yes, well, because she knew us, she was changed. People.
Yes.
That's what they say. That's what
Oh,
they say.
that's what they
Uh,
say.
all right, so kind of a quick one here. The New York Times is waded into the soda wars, people. This isn't like directly Latter Day Saints, but it's Mormon Corridor enough, and the article
Yes.
kind of talks about that. So, profile here in the New York Times essentially about the proliferation of the soda places all around the Intermountain West. The Swigs, the Sodalicious. There's a bunch of other ones I can't even remember. I always pick on those two, but there's
Fizz.
there's Fizz. There's the bunch of brands that do this, and obviously we can make jokes all day long about how because we don't consume alcohol and stuff like that, sugar is absolutely our vice as a culture, which is manifested by the fact that you get a soda with then more sugar flavoring added to it, and you get a sugar cookie at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's great. I'm not in a place to judge. My house is currently like a holiday party. Like there's just like platters of cookies and mints and
Oh,
things just sitting around because of Christmas, and I'm ODing on the regular.
yeah.
But um, it's kind of fun to read this to get sort of the context about why this exists in the Intermountain West, the Mormon Corridor, but also how it's expanded. And some of the people who run these companies have said people assume this would kind of just be a Mormon thing, Latter
Yeah.
Day Saint thing. But they've opened shops outside of those belts, and they're still
Mhm.
doing well. I do wonder if there's a little bit of hubris though when they basically are saying that, hey, look how Starbucks started, and like
I saw that. Yeah.
they're
I'm like,
essentially saying like we're going to take this to a Starbucks level. There's just going to be soda everywhere.
no, they have not met many Coloradoans then because you try to get a person in Colorado to drink soda and they're like, "I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what's soda? What is?"
Oh, come on. From the people who gave us Quiznos? Really? Really,
No,
Hannah?
I mean, they're not gonna drink that. That's not good for you. My they're, all
You
about
also get you
their
also gave us Chipotle, so that in fairness. And then
but they've gotta stay in peak, form, just excellent health, and so we do have one soda shop, though, and it's about 20 minutes away from me, and it was started by a guy who's not LDS, but he had visited Utah and was like, "This is a cool idea." So we set up this little place. It's called Sip. And I mean, I go there every once in a while, and he is just so happy to talk to me because he knows that I know all the soda shops in Utah. He's like, "Tell me what treats do
you're
they
one
have
of
right
them.
now?" And he's like, "What cookies do they have?" And he's like, "My cookies aren't as good as theirs." I'm like, "No, they're really not." He's like, "I don't. What should I sell? Like, what do you think I need?" And I'm like, "I I don't know." Like he's really wants to keep up with these
No, what you
Utah.
do is you say, "I'll tell you for 20% equity. I'll
I
let you."
know, right? But I
What?
feel kind of bad because I'm like, there's no way this guy is just killing it in Colorado with this soda shop. So I hope all the LDS people are coming out to go support him. But
Maybe he'd do better, like, would he do better in the Springs or,
oh yeah,
Pueblo? You think he might be do
maybe.
better in,
In the article, it said there was a fizz out here. I in Colorado. I need to look up where that is because I have not heard
Well,
about that. But
obviously.
it
I mean,
might be the Springs.
I've only been to one of these types of places. I went to the So Delicious in Provo once,
Oh
like
yeah,
5 years ago, and
yeah,
that was it. But, Dirty Dr. Pepper was delightful. Dr.
yeah.
Pepper with horchata mixed with it, actually
Oh,
not
nice.
the worst combination when you
Yeah,
actually get into
I
it.
do like the diet Dr. Pepper with, coconut and raspberry puree. That is an excellent.
It's actual raspberry puree, not
Uh-huh.
raspberry syrup, a puree.
Raspberry puree. It's
Raspberry puree.
delicious. Yes. Yeah, actually, my friends and I were talking about this the other day. We're like, why wouldn't you just stay at home and make the drink yourself? But I think it becomes a sort of this like it's like a ritual of like
Yeah. Oh, it's a
leaving the
Hajj, yeah.
house and like going out, and this it just feels like you're rewarding yourself for something, or just like if
Treat
you
yourself, yeah.
treat yourself by going to wait in line for an hour. Every time I'm in Utah, I get so frustrated because sometimes I'm like, I just need a quick soda, as I'm running around, and then I go, I'm like, can I find one that doesn't have a line that's 45 minutes? I just don't have time for that.
I wonder if I were in the market, if I would fall victim to this a lot. I don't drink as much soda as I used to, but if I ever am, like, peckish for one, though, for me, it's just go to McDonald's because it's a buck. Give me a Dr. Pepper for $1. I'm done. It's
Yeah.
great. That's all I need.
Yeah.
But if there was one of these up the street as well, would I maybe say, "Oh, yeah,"
Yeah.
but
But it's like the whole thing. It's the styrofoam cup, it's the pebble ice, it's the fresh lime. I
so
mean,
yes, they're
it's
really environmentally conscious with all their styrofoam cups. I
no,
appreciate
no. It's
everything
it's
they're doing.
Utah. We don't wear masks and we love styrofoam. I don't know.
And we're gonna find out somehow that pebble ice is also bad for the environment. I don't know how.
No, I
Producing it
know.
involves more CO2 emissions. I don't know what it is, but
I know, and
something.
you can even buy your own pebble ice machines just online.
They're
So
expensive.
I
I do.
know.
I'll agree. Pebble ice is the best ice for drinks. I mean, there's no argument. Cafe Rio ice, very good ice. They know what
Yeah.
they're doing. They know what they're doing.
No, I looked into those pebble ice machines. I'm like, no, that's too rich for my
Oh,
blood.
come on. You could ask for it. It's Christmas is coming.
I don't know.
Haley, Christmas
Maybe
is
in
here.
the summer. Maybe when I actually want to have pebble ice. I
You
don't know.
can get one. You'll start a whole, like, thing out of your garage. All the ladies will come over. It's gonna be this whole thing. We'll be
I'll
like, "We
go
should have
yeah, I'll drive
we
and ask
should
the guy here his
We should have the
secrets.
Relief Society activity at Haley's house because she has the pebble ice machine,
Oh,
so that's what
yeah.
I'm."
It would kill for sure. For sure.
I'll throw a couple quick mentions at you then while we're rolling here.
Okay.
Rwanda, a country most of us in the West probably think of when we think of Hotel Rwanda, the
Yep.
Don Cheadle film,
Don Cheadle.
which was about the Rwanda genocide, which is a horrible, horrible dark part
Yes.
of world history. Um, Rwanda has not had its own mission, and so the church has actually announced a couple new missions recently, which they don't always do kind of this time of year. But they announced on December 10th that the Rwanda Kigali is the capital, mission will be created in Rwanda. It's actually
Mhm.
Rwanda itself is actually split between three different missions right now, which is kind of interesting. So it's split
Yeah.
between the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Kinshasa East, that's a mouthful, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Lubumbashi, and the Uganda Kampala mission. Um, I don't know if that's like a Hutu and Tutsi, like trying to split them in that sense into different missions, and now they'll make them one. I don't know, but either way, they're going to have their own mission there. New mission president will be announced in January. I'm assuming the mission won't. Let me make sure I don't miss this. Yeah, it'll open in July because that's when they always do rotations
Mm.
for mission presidents and missions
Yeah,
and
and
stuff
it's
like
the
that.
39th mission in Africa.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I think
Africa
that's
is
awesome.
a busy place for the work right now. I think that's a
Yeah.
good sign either way. I mean, usually if you're and Rwanda is very densely populated, but
Mhm.
geographically it's not very big. So if you have
Yeah.
if they're saying it merits being its own mission, that means the work might be going somewhere there. So
Yeah.
it's a great thing. So
Yeah.
good for them. Very excited. They've also, just so you know, there's let's see, 8 new missions. Well, yeah, because they announced the Laie mission on December 3rd. They're gonna have a separate mission in Hawaii now, just on the North Shore, I guess.
Oh, wow.
And and then the last time they opened a couple new ones elsewhere. A handful of them were in Africa. Ethiopia got its own mission in Addis Ababa. Mozambique Beira mission, Tanzania. Handful of other places have had some new
Yeah.
missions in recent years. So good to see, especially since the work, kind of
Mhm.
slowed up a little bit during the COVID times. So
Yeah. I was actually gonna ask you, speaking of missions, so when you did you serve an LDS mission?
I sure did. That's why I was telling you all about the MTC in
Oh,
Del
yeah,
Taco a
that's
little bit
right,
ago.
that's right.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, sometimes people don't make it past
Some
the
people, some
MTC.
people.
I don't know. I don't know the
I did it.
statistics.
I made it the full 2 years, Haley.
Okay.
I did
Well,
okay.
that's what I wanted to know. Move on. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes,
No, but
I'm worthy. I'm worthy.
did you I was fascinated by this because reading about the new directory where you can communicate with your mission president in LDS, is it in member tools?
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
I didn't serve an LDS mission, so is that like a thing where after your mission you're just kind of like, "Oh, I wonder whatever happened to my mission president," and I mean, you have reunions and stuff, but
Yeah.
you don't really have the ability to keep in touch? Is that I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
It's a mix. I think this is cool they've done this too, and it fills a need. I mean, I would say for the most part, there's like third-party services that have been around for a very long time, random mission sites owned by enterprising Latter-day Saints to keep people in touch and try to get you to make an
Yeah.
account and all this. Facebook's obviously played
Facebook, yeah.
a big role in that. There are lots of mission groups, and I've seen mission presidents interact on there, even though they're not all on Facebook, but some are. And it's a great way to keep in touch, but not everyone's on that either. But
Mhm.
not everyone's also on member tools.
Yeah.
But at the very least, if you have if you're like a member of the church, you have the ability to be on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, from what I've seen, it's kind of cool. It's opt in, but so it's a little bit separate from the regular information you share. But you can log in and opt to share your information with your mission president. And so I'm assuming mission presidents,
Mhm.
even after they're released, they have in the back end the access table. They will forever have the ability to kind of like pull up another setting in there that says like, "Hey, my missionaries," whatever it is, and actually keep in touch with them. And yeah, for reunions or general harassment, whatever they're looking to do, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I know, and I wonder, is like one of the ideas, like, just to kinda keep tabs on people since maybe, there are more, people starting to kind of leave at some point? I don't know. I was
So
wondering
you
about
wonder
that.
if this is actually sort of a proactive
No.
defensive move. There's
No.
nothing wrong with that. I think
No,
we do a lot of things in the church that are to try to
uh,
kind of like get ahead of
retention.
stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just when I saw it, that was kind of one of the first things that popped into my head, I'm sure those mission presidents, like, wonder what happens to these young men and women after they leave their care.
Yeah. I mean, and the nice thing is, like, yeah, it's you have to agree to do it on your end. So
Yeah.
if you're in a place where you're not as involved in church, and the thing I appreciated is the church's own article about this interviewed some former mission presidents who spoke frankly about that. So it wasn't all just like sun and roses and stuff like that. Like they're
Mhm.
like, yeah, we've got like there's even if they've like left the faith and they're not involved anymore, like sure, if we have a chance to still let them know we love them and we care about them, I mean, we all
Mhm.
look back fondly on these
Yeah.
times together, hopefully. Um, so yeah, I'm grateful for it. When I finished my mission, Facebook wasn't a thing,
Yeah.
didn't exist at the time or anything like that, and so it was a bit harder to kind of keep up with what was going on. I think social media has made that easier, and it's cool to have this too.
Yeah.
Why not?
That is cool.
I
Um
mean, my mission president's in the 70 now, so it's like really easy to get in touch with him.
My husband's,
But
former mission president is, Elder Razban, so
Did he talk a lot about religious freedom? Because that seems to be all that a Raz band speaks about
I don't know. I
nowadays.
should ask him.
What happened on the mission? Was it all like where was this?
It was in up New York North.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
hanging out in the like Adirondacks or like New York City
No,
North.
I think it's like yeah, in like New York City, like Bronx,
It's
like
like
the
the Bronx and
city.
White
Yeah,
Plains.
Bronx
Okay.
and then Connecticut.
Yeah.
So it was like total opposites. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times. Well, let's see here in our waning moments. I've got another quick one here that just cracked me up.
Mhm.
Um, good on you, LDS Living, for grabbing this. Anybody could have. But a viral TikTok shows an Amazon worker posing as a Latter-day Saint missionary. I'm trying to make sure I understand the yeah, I don't know if they did this like intentionally or what happened, but what it is, someone ordered some stuff on Amazon and she put a note on the door, I think, that said like make sure to hide the package from the husband.
Well, in the video, it's her welcome mat. It says hide
Oh yeah,
packages.
I see that now. Okay, yeah.
It says hide packages from husband. So then
Yes.
again, I don't know if like he just because that I mean you could buy that anywhere, right? So that's not so it's like he's like he took it literally and went to hide the package
Yes.
and got
And
caught.
so it goes to doorbell camera footage, from a Ring or a Nest or something like that. He notices the doormat, tries to hide it, and then he's about to leave. Then the husband opens the door and just says like,
Do you have
"Hey,
a
is that a
package?
package?"
Yeah.
And the guy just turns around and just says, no. No, no. I have a message about the restored gospel of Jesus Christ." And then the video cuts off, and I don't know what else happened after that, which is a bit unfortunate. It's a TikTok. I just want to know about this driver. Is he a member of the church? Because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
very specific phrasing. You have to know the lingo to say it like that.
Exactly. No one could just, pull that out and just have that prepared unless someone's approached him with that and it's stuck in his head. I mean, that talk about planting a seed.
I wonder why it says in the post, Amazon has my back, hashtag green screen video. I'm sure that's some TikTok thing. This isn't green screen. I don't know what that means.
I don't either. I don't know enough about TikTok, to be
I don't do
honest.
the TikTok. Either way,
But yeah, I mean,
well known.
I think the whole thing is funny. He's clearly wearing like, I don't know, a vest. And he's
Yeah.
like, no. But good for him for going for it.
Oh, there's a part two apparently. Man,
Oh,
I went to the
and what if the guy had
sorry.
said, "Well, yes, I wanna hear about that." 'Cause the first rule of improv, yes, and.
Unless it's all staged.
Mm, that's true.
Might all be staged.
It
I
could
don't want to be
be.
so cynical, but I live in a world where maybe everything is
That's true.
staged.
That's true.
This is sad.
Don't wanna think about that.
Okay, don't give us something happier.
Tom Christofferson posted on Facebook that, he has decided he is going to, start dating, which I
Okay.
thought, first of all, was, that could be a very private thing, and yet he posts that publicly on Facebook. And as someone who a lot of people or members in the LGBTQ plus community look to, I thought that that was interesting that he made that public so that this is what I'm choosing to do for myself and my happiness, and I'm going to attempt to do this like my within the standards of the church. So I think that's
Did you ever
great.
read his book by any chance?
No, I've listened to
Dude,
him on several I've listened to several interviews with him and read things, but not his book.
I mean, if you, I imagine his interviews covered a lot of the book. His general story, how and of course, he's the brother of Elder D.
D.
Todd
Todd.
Christofferson of the Quorum
Yep.
of the 12, which I love in the book because he speaks, much as you would imagine, much more familially with. He just talks about like, yeah, well, Todd came over, and then like I talked. But the book's definitely worth a read. I
Okay.
remember one part that I thought was really interesting. I think it was dealing with kind of Prop 8 when that was going down in
Yeah.
California, and like his brother was in, like, his first thought was simply like, how do I navigate this with my brother being who he is? And like, he was, and
Mhm.
credit to Elder Christofferson as well for, I'm assuming, approving being, this open about personal communication between the two of them. But I think it's pretty
Yeah.
good. But yeah, Tom, as he came back to the church, he basically just became essentially celibate, which I think is one of
Yeah.
those hard choices a lot of gay members of the church
Mhm.
make, or they feel like they have to make. And I don't know what that's like. I'm not in those shoes. Um, but that's obviously not an easy thing if you feel like, yeah, I care about the gospel and it means I'm going to forego companionship so that I can
Mhm.
be involved in the church, and be in full communion, for to use an expression we don't really use
Yeah.
in our church. But and I don't know where like the quote unquote line is. Like, he stresses, like he said, he wants kids to keep the law of chastity and all that.
Yeah,
I don't
as
know. I
any
don't know if,
single member would
but like,
do.
single members will hold hands and make out and stuff. Is
Yeah.
that is that kosher for the LGBTQ saints among us? I don't think anyone's fully spelled that out or not. I don't know. I don't have those answers, but I think you just got to kind of be prayerful
Yeah.
about it.
I know it probably varies from bishop to bishop and stake to stake, quite honestly. I don't know.
So good for Tom.
Yeah.
Real quick here, I think very interesting article that we could spend a lot of time on, but we're not going to. But the vicious 150-year rivalry between Utah's two biggest newspapers. So good on the Washington Post
Oh, yeah.
for deciding to write a deep dive breakdown of the rivalry between the Deseret News and the Salt Lake Tribune, the genesis of both papers, why they exist, and sort of, I mean, people get on the Trib's case a lot because they think it is an anti Latter day Saint rag, oftentimes. I think sometimes it goes out of its way to be that way. But at the same time, I think the Tribune also produces some like really good journalism that's very important for us as Latter day
Yeah.
Saints to consider different points of view, and other things like the entire sexual abuse scandals at BYU would not have come to light were it not for the Trib's reporting, for example. And Deseret News is not going to do that. They're just not. They're just not going to do that. That's not their lane,
Right. Yeah. Church
right?
owned. Yeah. Church.
Yeah.
Yeah. Entities.
But anyway, so it's kind of fascinating to go. Man, I just like there's so much of this history I didn't know about.
Same.
Like when you really realize obviously how much the press factors into our history, of course, going all the way back to Joseph Smith destroying the printing press for the Nauvoo Expositor, which is essentially what led to
Yes.
the martyrdom. Which, like this, we know this, but literally seeing that it was disaffected members of the church in Salt Lake who went on to start what became the Salt Lake Tribune, and like specifically to be like a thorn in Brigham Young's side.
Uh
Like, that
huh.
was the reason it existed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are many who might be listening who say, well, no, duh, they've carried that tradition on well into the modern day. But I
Oh,
mean, there's so much this is a pretty decent length piece, which, as long as you don't get blocked from it, because it's it can
yeah.
be paywallish when you're with the Post, but absolutely worth your time to read and learn a little bit about the history of these two papers, and so, sort of how they've
Yeah.
diverged, how they've come together, especially that weird revenue sharing agreement they had at one point in time. Now, how the Tribune is a registered nonprofit, which might be the way forward for a lot of smaller newspapers, so they don't either go out of business or get gobbled up by the Sinclairs and the other,
Yeah.
the giant the media corporations in our country that own a lot of the local newspapers, and then tell them what they actually have to say rather than just cover local news. It's
Yeah.
pretty interesting read. It's a,
Well,
it's a fun
then,
read.
and if you were those guys that started, what was, or the original Tribune, I can't remember what it was called before it was called the Tribune, but it, I mean, just Brigham Young didn't want to have any sort of, he was controlling the economy. Like, he only wanted to have like Mormon, like based economies,
Yeah,
incoming, outgoing. And these guys are like, okay, that's not cool because, there's mining, there's stuff that, and that was
and we're
kind of the motivation. And I mean, I kind of would agree with them. Like, you can't just control the entire economy. I mean, I guess.
like, in some ways you understand the desire to cut yourself off even economically from the rest of the country. I mean,
Yeah.
Utah was quite theocratic, and it was
Very
finally not
theocratic, but not necessarily, yeah, the most practical, or
no,
I don't
and
know.
not having to deal with pesky neighbors anymore. There's no Missourians, there's no Illinoisans, there's no residents
Yeah.
of Quincy wondering when you're going to move on. It's just like, nope, we got rid of all of them, and now we can do what we want, and what we
Yeah,
want to
I mean,
do
who
is
among
be
us has
very
not wanted
desolate.
to start like an artist compound in the mountains and go off the
Exactly.
grid? I mean,
Exactly.
but at some point, you have to go buy groceries. I mean, you have to interact with the modern world, so it just wasn't
But you don't, you don't, you
it
don't.
just wasn't feasible. Fine, we'll invite some chefs and
No, no,
that's still
you
an
make a really
artist.
good point though, because even I remember like when I was driving through Southern Ohio years ago, which is Ohio's actually got a very large Amish population.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania gets all the love, but there are a lot of Amish people in Ohio.
Yeah.
And you can pull over and go to these bakeries and stuff, but even some of those practicalities, like the Amish people know their market, and you've got Amish people like speaking Pennsylvania or like lower Dutch to one another, but like using Square or something to make payments
You're like,
because they
"Well"
know they're like, as George Costanza would say, we are living in a society, and that's and those are the practicalities. So, anyways, this is a great read. You should really take your time and check it out. It's fun if you care about media in general, and it also provides a lot of context, I think, for Deseret News and Salt Lake today, the Trib today, and the Trib's in a very interesting place because now it's owned by one of the Huntsman brothers, a huntsman who's active in the church and cares about the Trib still like doing its job, but also not making it just be kind of like oppositional for oppositional's sake or anything like that.
Huh.
But it's all very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Well, anything else you want to go out on here, Haley, before we wrap it up?
Um, yeah. Well, I mean, I think one of the articles I really enjoyed was about Pocatello and the interfaith
Yeah.
um, relationships there with the church and the Jewish community. Um, there's, I guess, kind of been this history with this local temple, Jewish temple in Pocatello, and the saints there, and they've helped each other. Um, I can't remember the guy's name, but he is, if you, I don't know if you have that. Um,
I can pull it up here.
yeah. He actually helped with the groundbreaking of the temple, and then when his, of the LDS temple.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
We got
then when
a tale of two temples
A
here.
tale
Yes,
of two temples.
yes.
And then when his temple and his community needed some help with some outdoor renovations, I think it was the stake president there. They're like, "Oh, well, you're our friend. We'll come help you. We'll bring people." And we know that LDS will show up with people and with trucks. And that's what they did. They showed up with just people and trucks and droves and just got everything done. And they the members of that community were really impressed and grateful, and I just love stories. I love interfaith, you know, works going on, and it's inspiring. Makes me want to do more of that.
It's cool. I love that like you said, he got to turn the shovel at the Pocatello groundbreaking. That temple was dedicated just a matter of weeks ago. I think that's great. Awesome that they can do that.
Yeah.
Good on them. All right, my last one here, everybody. Just some great news for fans of erstwhile U.S. Senator one Jeff Flake of Arizona, everybody. That's right. Jeff Flake. Jeff Flake, who had an interesting time in Congress during his one term there. If you followed the saga of Jeff Flake, he was senator during an interesting time to be a moderate, seemingly like nice person in the Senate. But he's since left, right? He's not there anymore. But he was appointed by the Biden administration, which I'm sure some of you will roll your eyes at because you'll say, "See, there it is. He was a rhino all along." But Jeff Flake, regardless, serving his country, was appointed to be the ambassador to Turkey, which is great. Diplomatic presence is wonderful. And he was sworn in by Vice President Kamala Harris. Of course, why this matters to us, Jeff Flake is an active member of our faith, an active Latter-day Saint. And I love this picture, screen grab from Vice President Harris's Twitter account of Jeff Flake being sworn in as ambassador to Turkey, and his hand is right on top of a nice, big, beautiful brown quad. And there is no mistaking that that is a quad. That is not any other piece of scripture. And that answers the question. People say, like, if a Mormon becomes president, like, would you put your hand on the Book of Mormon? Jeff Flake's like, no, I've got this covered. It's got the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. There's no, I'm not leaving out any scriptures. We've got them all covered. So they're all equally
Yeah.
represented. So, anyways, I think it's very easy for anybody to just totally miss that who's not aware of our faith traditions and our beliefs and stuff like that. But I can't remember if like I don't know, like if like Mitt Romney was sworn into the Senate or anybody. I need to look around at other like Latter Day Saint politicians who have been sworn in and
Yeah.
see what
No,
they
I don't know.
view.
I'm just looking at the VP's Instagram, and she put it on there too. And so now I'm probably gonna, after this, gonna go down the comments rabbit hole to see if anyone else pointed that out.
Oh, someone must have.
So far,
I
they
mean,
don't say very nice things, but I really want. Yeah, I want some.
social media is a mean place.
No, I know. I'm so surprised. What's happening?
Oh, what a shame.
Oh
So,
man.
anyways, that's cool. I think that's fun. If I ever
Yeah.
run for office, I too will use. I will either use a quad, or to really troll America, I will use my Catalan language Book of Mormon to really make people be like, "What the heck is happening in this country?" That's right. I want us all to speak Catalan in this country. That's the
I'm out.
Adamic language. Say, take that, suckers. Anyway, well, this has been great, everybody. Thanks for being here and taking part in the news with us. Once again, go to our website, thisweekinmormons.com. You can get all the show notes for this, transcript of this show, links to all the articles we've spoken about, yada, yada, yada. And of course, follow us on social media where we try not to be mean, but at least interesting. Like we're not going to be rude to you or anything. And if you disagree with us, that's fine. But, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the big three, join us on those. And big shout out, of course, to our YouTube watchers. Yeah, who like to see us talking. We love you guys. Thanks for being a part of this. And
Oh
thank you to our
wow.
patrons on Patreon who help financially support the show. Very much appreciated. If you want to do the same, go find us on Patreon at patreon.com/thisweekinmormons. You can find Haley, of course, in an unnamed mysterious movie that she can't tell too much about, but something might happen at some point in time.
Yeah.
Is that because
I
is
think
it because it's going to be rated R and you don't want to tell us
no,
what,
no, no.
what
It's
the
a
deal is?
family movie. I think
With Will
well,
Forte? Really?
yeah, I think
The MacGruber trailer just dropped last week. I don't know if I believe you, but okay. I'm
oh
just kidding.
man, that will be fun. I think it's called Aliens Abducted My Parents and I kind of feel left out is the full title. But on set we just called it Aliens, but then I've also seen Aliens Abducted My Parents. I don't know. It's
Yeah, well,
fun.
Aliens itself is already a film, so there's that
It's
one. But
not yeah, it's not Aliens.
it's not a James Cameron action movie. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be a really fun family comedy so I don't know when it's gonna come out. I'll keep you posted.
Okay. How was stuff with we gotta go, but how was stuff with Once I Was
Once
Engaged? Was
I was
everyone happy
engaged.
with Once I Was Engaged?
I mean,
With
I
its
think so. I mean, it's you can get it now, DVD, Blu-ray, a Deseret book, and hopefully at some point it will be digital somewhere streaming. Um,
Oh, it'll
we
be on
just
Living Scriptures before like the year is out.
yeah, yeah,
Tabernacle.
we just don't
You can
know where yet.
I think you can stream the entire like Hailstorm filmography on so when you're dying to watch The Home Teachers and the
Mm,
RM back to back,
mm,
you have that
yes,
resource
new
available.
weekend plans. Thanks for that. Can't wait.
There we go.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I mean, it's it's been fun. We'll see. We'll see. We'd like to get it out there to more people, so we'll, you know, follow the Instagram or Facebook to find out
Well, when it's
where it
gonna
will
be
be.
coming out, we'll make sure to get you and Will Forte on the show, and
Oh.
then I will derail the entire program and just ask him about The Last Man on Earth, and we'll talk about
Yes,
nothing but that show.
that's all that I asked him about when I met him. And he loves to talk about it. So,
It ended okay, but I was bummed it ended without getting an actual like, you know,
I
it just kinda
know.
ended,
I
which
know.
happens
It
with
was
shows
so
all the
sad
time.
cuz it kind of like was going to get like really exciting. I don't know. I
It's
yeah.
I'm gonna say it's not for everybody, folks. I can't recommend it to all of you, but I thought it was such a bizarre it was a very interesting program, and
I
I enjoyed it.
loved it.
We watched it, yeah, consistently. It was a very bizarre little program.
One
I
of
enjoyed it.
my favorite bits is him in that inflatable dinosaur. I don't know why that was so funny. But just
Was that one in season 3 when they found the Silicon Valley office and they were living in that one?
maybe.
I think
Yeah.
so. Every season they live somewhere else, and there
Yeah.
was season 4 when they were in the hacienda in Mexico and
Yes. It's so great.
all that stuff. Well, anyways,
Uh,
we digress. So, Haley
sorry.
Smith, great to have you here. Thanks for joining us this week.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's been fun.
Pleasure to have you. And thanks for all you listening. Can't do it without you. Seriously. So thanks for being a part of this show, and we hope you'll share it with everybody else. And until we talk again, this has been This Week in Mormons. For Haley, I'm Jeff. We'll talk to you later. Bye bye.